This time we're in Perth. We're still on Soundwave. Last show's tomorrow. It's been absolutely incredible, this tour. It's been fantastic. But the real reason we're here is to continue telling you about the track listing for Addicts to Eden. We're going to start with Not For This World. It's Matthew's favorite song. It's one of my favorite songs. It was one of the first we started working on. Mateo has this kind of, his little signatures, these tappings we do all the time, like Now or Never, House of Cards, kind of tapping, and we work songs around that. And that's what we did for Not For This World. It was one of the first new tapping kind of ideas that he got into, and it blew me away right away. And this is another song lyrically that ties in very closely to the story, Scorched Earth. It's the second part of our story. And I don't know, it's, you'll see literally what it means when the story comes about, but metaphorically you'll be able to attach to it pretty well. It's one of the rockers on the record, and I love it.
Welcome to Oblivion. Welcome to Oblivion. What? Was written, the schematics for that song were written in a hotel in the United States. I don't even know where. And it was cool, man. It was like one of those weird tunings. Sometimes as a guitar player you get bored of the traditional tuning because you can only do so many things. So there was a couple of weird tunings that I learned and I tried it, and that riff came out, and then I came up with the ascending line, and the dudes were staying, I think it was me and Sprockets in a hotel, and you guys were somewhere else in the hotel, and then I called Nathan, and Nathan came back, and he heard it, and he immediately sang an original draft of what the lyric was, and then, which was the melody, like da 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 da. That time it wasn't Welcome to Oblivion, it was probably something very funny and probably with a sexual reference of sorts. And then he came up with Welcome to Oblivion, and then Matthew came down and actually dragged it like 8 bars before. So before it used to be like, ba ba, welcome to, and Matthew was like, why don't you go, welcome to Oblivion, and that's how that song developed.
The next song is Silent Voices Kill, and it has like one of these kind of classic rock riffs, which is cool. I think it was yet another stretch for Madina Lake to do, which is all over Addicts to Eden. We did different things on almost every song, which was super cool. But Silent Voices is one of those like kind of more classic rock sounding, just straight up rockers, and it also ties in to Scorched Earth quite a bit, so most of them do. I would say 99% of the songs do, maybe 1 or 2 don't. But yeah, it's a good rocker, and it's got I love the pre-chorus of it. It shifts gears, like a dynamic within the song, I think is pretty badass.
And I think what's most remarkable is this blistering solo that young Negro did. I would say the first solo of his life.
First good solo. I did it, and Ben was like, yeah, which is his version of yeah, man.
It's a real squirrely solo. Nowadays, it's almost impossible to do a solo that hasn't been done to some extent. But to me, I think this one sounds pretty unique and original, and it really kind of exemplifies the squirrely nature of the song lyrically and everything else, and I think it's pretty badass.
Statistics started as a demo in Project Revolution, which was a long time ago. It was a lot poppier than it was, and then it evolved into what it is right now, which I believe is still the poppiest song in the album, but it has like a dark edge. And while we were in pre-production, I learned a very valuable lesson that was clear path for the vocals. So I changed the guitar riff into pretty much a pattern that copies his idea for the vocals. So it just all sounds a lot better. Also in pre-production, you changed the beat. Instead of a disco beat that was what I originally thought would be cool and clearly was wrong. you ended up playing like a rock and roll AC/DC Fall on the Floor beat. And it came out awesome. I really like that song. It's one of my favorite ones.
The next song on the record is called Friends and Lovers. That's another one of my personal favorites, sort of equated as the river people of this record, because it's haunting and brooding and it plods along, and it's the first song that we actually use trumpets on, which is a rarity for us, but that's indicative of the whole recording session for Addicts. Really like exploring everything that we hadn't ever explored yet. The lyrical sentiment of the song is very intense and deliberate and very personal and beautiful, and it's inspiring in its painfulness, I would say. So that's like, we thought that would be the perfect way to sort of conclude all the sentiment of the record with that song. So that's Friends and Lovers.
Lila was a cool thing because it was one of those examples that new gear brings new inspiration. I bought this new software that was like really expensive and really frustrating, but it came like with all these amazing pianos, and I just hooked it up and started dicking around, and that was like the first thing that I played was that little piano riff, and then synth line came around it. We were just all listening to it, and we just thought it was like, I originally thought it might be like a cool intro or something, but it turned out to be powerful enough to make the record. So that's Lila the Divine.